episode 63 of Speak On It. We stopped doing jersey numbers. I meant to tell you this. We stopped doing jersey numbers a couple of weeks ago, and we need to get back on it. So who's worn 63? Now we're into linemen, like offensive linemen.
We're going to get into some offensive linemen going this route in all seriousness. So are we really going to? I mean, of course, we highlight the offensive linemen because the game is one of the trenches.
Yeah, and Jeff Saturday.
My camera a bit. Go ahead.
Jeff Saturday wore 63. Can this be
the shout out Jeff Saturday, former Green Bay Packer.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's the Jeff Saturday Show. I am your host, Danny Ocean, as always, joined by the smoothest man on the planet, Losty Mix. How you living?
Hey, man, I am living a lot better now. I am get used to these looks behind me, people. If you're watching the live stream or you're watching the YouTube or you're watching anywhere, I mean, get used to these looks behind me because it's about to get a lot more permanent. I'll probably get some wall art going, but your boy in his spot on the West Coast, you know how it is, man. How are you, man? How are you? Now, how are you?
How am I? I am doing great. Life is good. Work is going great. Working hard, but you know,
I see it. Yeah, every time I talk to you, you working. Every time I text you, you be working.
I'm trying to be like you. Like you've reached a level of greatness at such a young age. Like I feel like I'm behind, so like I got to catch up to you.
Okay. That's what I'm. Nah, why are you doing this? But I'm trying to catch up to you.
You have not only caught up to me, you have lapped me. So
nah, I'm really trying to catch up to you. You're the GOAT. You him.
But then again, you're the track star, and I'm just a defensive tackle. So there are levels.
Speaking of which, so I know the audience doesn't know this, but you know, me and you were in a fantasy football league together. That I am the GM of. It is the All Money in Fantasy Football League, and I, as you may have noticed yesterday, I reactivated the league because it is time for people to start getting those fantasy football strategies going. And so I already went ahead and set the draft. It is the Wednesday before the season tips off. So we should know by that date who's healthy, who not, who made it through training camp, who didn't, because it is scary. Y'all know that training camp period. I'm not the only one. Every day you just hold your breath. I've been moving, so I've been off Twitter for a little bit. Every time I go on there, I'm learning about somebody who could potentially be traded, or we're getting closer and closer to the NFL season, and I'm like, oh man. So I know people are around that time. That's why I said it for that Wednesday. So I need to hear your thoughts about the disrespect our division was getting last night in our group chat. And for the audience who don't know, last season, me and Danny are in the NFC portion of our fantasy football league, and the guys who were talking were in the AFC portion of our league. Now, I will go on record and say that last season, the AFC division had better overall records, but they also made one of the most heinous trades ever in that division, which essentially gave them 3.5 pretty stacked teams. Yes. And the person they traded from was in our division. So you're essentially taking out half of our division and helping out half of their division. That's what essentially happened. Either way, they had the number 1 seed. They ended up having the champion who came from that side of the bracket, who was, I believe, the 3rd seed or the 4th seed. I would say they had 5 of the best six records that made it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you were the only one from the NFC that made the playoffs. I barely missed the playoffs because I went on a run at the end of the year. Had we had another week or two, I might have snuck in, but I missed the cut.
So how did you feel about the districts? Because they essentially was calling the GMs in our division some bums.
So it got so like I put that conversation on mute last night. When I woke up this morning, there were 75 messages, and they were just like, rah! They were just like, yo, what an NFC managers at? We beating their ass, but it's okay though, right? It's a new year, and hopefully, like last year, I know I suffered a lot of injuries. Like Dalvin Cook was banged up. You had Derrick Henry, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I did have Derrick Henry.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of us Like I hope we come back this year. I hope we beat the piss out of them, and I hope that they can start putting some respect on their name because they were mad disrespectful. I was reading this morning. I was like, oh, they a little out of pocket.
And I think I think what's really being underestimated in our league, and we won't stay here much longer, people, because I'm gonna let Danny go into our sponsors. But what's really getting underestimated in this league is these new incentives and how that is going to change the mindset and the maneuvers of this season. We are not this last season. You can almost consider it an anomaly. It is almost like a bubble ring. I'm not going to say it, but I'm saying it between me and you, but it's almost like a bubble ring because from here going forward, the league is completely different now. Yes. For all those who don't know, last year I think the buy-in was about $30, and it was
something like that. It's like 30 or 50.
It was like $50. Winner got something, second place got something. One of those leagues. And because of that dumb trade that got passed in my league that no one vetoed, and I didn't want to use my GM power to just overrule it, I decided to introduce some new rules in the league that were voted on and agreed upon by all the managers to keep this interesting and make it competitive to the very last game. So now the buy-in is 80, which ups the money for the champion and second place. You now get money for winning your division. You now get even more money for being the highest scoring team in the regular season, which is going to incentivize people to set their lineup. And the rule that I love the most is I put a little Champions League-esque rule into where if you're the last place winner, you can either leave the league or you pay half of the champions buy-in next season. So with those rules, how do you think this is going to make the league a little bit more competitive?
I do, and I also think it'll help people, think twice before they decide to tank in the middle of the season, which is essentially what happened with that trade, right? They weren't doing that well. I'll just punt on the season. Like, no. There is no punting. You have to keep playing until the end of the year. And then by the time you can punt, the trade deadline would have passed. So now you have the incentive to keep going so you don't get last place.
Yeah. I think the race for last place is going to be just as exciting as the race for first place. And between me and you, which is not between me and you because we're broadcasting this, but I'm planning on tracking the stats of the season for points for, so I can keep tally every week of who's the highest scoring team in the league, even though it kind of tells that, but I'll make it easier for the people, make it a little bit more digestible. I'm gonna keep division winners up to date, and then I'm gonna keep the last place race. Like I'm gonna make sure people know where they stand pretty much every week. But so that's why I'm like dropping leagues. I'm down to I'm just in three fantasy football leagues this year. Like I had to tell a homie yesterday, yo, I'm out. I try to give him the benefit of that. I was like, yo, if you make it 10 people, I'll stay. It's a 12-person league, and he was like, nah, no one else, not another person didn't say they would back out. Everyone's coming back. So I was like, well, I hope you can find a replacement. I'm out.
But you're such a great GM, and I appreciate the thought and the effort that you've put in this league.
Hey man, it can be fun. I'm trying to keep people engaged, Eventually, you keep people engaged enough. I'm telling you, I think in about 3, 4, 5 years, someone else other than me is going to volunteer let the buy-in go up. I'm telling you that once someone else suggests, can we up the buy-in? That's when I know my GMness I put us in a very good position where they want to renegotiate the CBA and whatnot. David
Stern will be proud. He would be proud.
I learned from the best.
David Stern will be proud of you right now.
All right, tell the people who this is brought to us by, since we're speaking of fantasy.
Yeah, so one way I'm going to do my best to win your league is I'm going to head over to goingfor2.com for my fantasy advice, content daily, especially now that we're getting closer. We're starting to see more rankings. For redrafts, we're starting to get a lot more analysis over at Going for Two. Great site, a lot of content. It's completely free. Chill, Blake. We just getting started with your rude ass. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. Again, fantasy needs might be a little bit of gambling. I might dip my toes back into the FanDuel this year. I'm looking. What's the thing is And I text you every Sunday I gambled last year. I feel like I was texting you all Sunday, just stressed out, and it really took the joy out of football. So
It's
I might.
funny because where I'm at now, they only have DraftKings. So where I live at now, it's only DraftKings. So like I gotta, I'm the guy, my guy who I'm gonna be following his picks. I'm just hoping all his plays are also available on FanDuel because they be funny sometimes.
Like I'm thinking about like maybe some odds that are out now and giving the people some not safe bets, but some pretty cool bets. Like over unders for teams. I think the over under for the Broncos is like 9.5. Like that's very interesting. Like I might take the under for that. But again, we'll talk about that later. D, what are we talking about tonight?
All right, so we're gonna start off chatting a little bit about the trade heard only in Cleveland between Baker Mayfield and Carolina. We'll talk a little bit about Lamar Jackson and what this means for the black QBs out here trying to get paid in the market. We'll talk a little bit about the Raiders and their new team president, and then we're gonna chat a little bit about Donovan Mitchell on the trading block potentially for the Jazz. As you can tell by the name of the episode, we're gonna chat a little bit about Zach Wilson because sometimes Mackin or whatever that is. But let's start it off in Cleveland. Listen, man, the Cleveland Browns finally got Baker Mayfield off the roster. They traded that man to the Carolina Panthers for what I believe was a 5th-round pick, I believe.
It's a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick, depending on how much Baker plays.
Oh, brother. So 4th-round pick. And essentially what this trade is doing is starting a QB competition between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Now, people, I need y'all to let me say that again. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold competing at the QB position for the Carolina Panthers. So with that piece of knowledge, I want to ask you, Danny, where do you think this puts the Panthers in the NFC South race?
Where they've always been, in last place, the doormat. Quarterback aside, what does that team have? They have Christian McCaffrey, never healthy. DJ Moore, okay, DJ Moore solid. Robbie Anderson, don't even like Baker Mayfield. What are we talking about here? They're the doormat of the NFC South. They were before Baker got there. They're going to be the doormat now. And Tom is just.
Yo, I think that's a good point, and I don't mean to cut you off. Yo, Robbie Anderson heard that shit y'all said. Leave him alone, man. Yeah, he tweeted that shit. So what? You ain't never worked with your boss that you ain't like, but you still got to come to work. Like, yeah, I don't fuck with you. You get on my fucking nerves.
Like, he wasn't wrong.
I got bills to pay. That's what Robbie Anderson said. Robbie Anderson said, "Hey man, the bag comes first. We'll figure this out." He basically said one of every 3 or 4 Baker Mayfield passes gotta be on target eventually.
Gotta be. If it's not getting intercepted, if he's not getting sacked. I mean, this might be the worst thing that could have happened to Baker. Like, he could have went to any other team. I feel really bad for Baker because I don't think Baker is as bad as we think he is. Like, he led Cleveland to the playoffs when he was healthy. Last year, he hurt his shoulder, played through it, played terrible. And now you're in Carolina. Matt Rule's going to be on his way out. You're fighting Sam Darnold. Your offensive line sucks. Again, DJ Moore's cool. Christian can't stay healthy. Wide receiver number 2 hates you. Your defense is booty. You got to play Tom Brady twice a year. And you're going to lose to Jameis Winston. Like, that is a tough-ass scene.
Can I ask what makes you think that Matt Rule is on his way out?
Oh, Matt Rule's on the hottest seat in the NFL. He's been a fluke since he got there. He flipped that Baylor job to an NFL job, and now he just Chip Kelly without a playoff win.
Oh, man. Not he's what?
He is Chip Kelly without the division title, because I don't know if Chip Kelly won a playoff game. I know Chip made it to the playoffs. I'm thinking Chip.
Why y'all Eagles fans eventually have to let the Chip Kelly portion of your franchise go? It just didn't happen, Captain.
Like, you talk about pulling the wool over someone's eyes. Chip had us all.
It didn't happen, Captain. Sometimes that happens.
But Matt Rule is Chip Kelly. He gonna be right back in the Big 12 next year. No, he's going out west. He'll be in the Pac-12 or what's left of the Pac-12 next year, and
he might come to the ACC or whatever is left of that conference. I guess.
Oh, God. But what do you think? What do you think about the Baker thing?
This like this like when you don't like your man girlfriend and he start cheating on her with a girl you can't a girl with a girl that you don't like either. It's like, yo, dog, you just got a poor taste in women.
Okay.
And what I'm if you catch what I'm saying here, hey yo, Cleveland, at what point I mean not Cleveland, hey yo, Carolina, at what point do y'all realize that ever since Cam Newton walked out y'all's doors, y'all don't have a very good taste in picking quarterbacks?
No, you don't.
Uh, Good luck.
Like,
Oh,
like if you're
bless you.
Carolina, like this is the year to tank, right? You got CJ, you got Bryce, you got the kid from Miami, you got the kid from Kentucky, and then there's someone else I'm forgetting. Like you got 5 guys that can go in the first round potentially. Like I know Matt Rule doesn't want to hear this, but dog, if there was ever a year to just let Sam Darnold do his thing, this is the year because the light is
Matt
at the end
Rule.
of the tunnel.
Matt Rule. If I really think I see a vision, I'm going to take a step out on the ledge. Do you mind, Danny?
Go
Matt
for
Rule,
it.
if I really see a vision here, what I think you're trying to tell me is that you need Baker or Sam Darnold on a, let me guess, 2, 3 year rental. Because what you're trying to do is put yourself in, you're trying to build skill position and defensive players along with your offensive line. Because what you want to do, Matt Rule, is you want to be right there when Arch Manning is available to be drafted, because that's the year you're going to let Baker and Sam Darnold walk out the door. And you're going to put Josh McCown back there at quarterback for a year, win 3 games, draft Arch Manning #1 overall. And that's when you think you're going to have the offense to run it all. How much you want to bet?
Do you think Carolina will let that man suck for that? That would be
You
what
didn't hear me.
seven
What do you think? What do
years
you think
of
Baker? What do you think Baker and Sam Darnold are for? They're here for the next 2 years to put decent quarterback play on the field. Matt Rule knows he's getting decent quarterback play. If they outperform their contracts, then now you're just putting them in championship position, right? But they want to keep the skill position. They want to build on skill position, offensive and defensive linemen, because what I think they're about to do is really try to put themselves in a position to tank 1 year for Arch Manning or be very bad for Arch Manning, get him. And I bet you they think Arch Manning is their Jay Herbo.
dog. The NFL should kick them out the league if they have a 3-year plan to make it to Arch Manning. Especially again this year, you have right now 5 guys that could go first round, and we're not even talking about Spencer Rattler and whatever guy comes out of nowhere.
Who said
Right?
Spencer Rattler going first round?
He might. I mean, he can go to South Carolina and play well and play his way into the first round. He was going to be the
I'll
number
wait
1
till I see
overall
him.
pick.
I'll wait till I see him. I'll wait till I see him again.
Hello, Kyle. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
As always, what's good? Research. How's it going, man?
And I would not trade McCaffrey right now because he has no value. What are you going to get from McCaffrey? He can't stay healthy. And he has that massive contract. Maybe at the trade deadline.
Yo, Christian McCaffrey due for another one of them years, though.
He is. Like, I'm scared to draft him. Like,
A lot of people are saying they're scared to draft Zeke, too.
yes. I'm extremely. I mean, Amari's gone. All you got is CD and Blake Jarwin. And Michael Gallup.
They got Michael Gallup.
I mean, Michael
Don't
Gallup's
play on
coming off
Michael
like an
Gallup. Watch the tape on Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup's coming off an ACL tear.
He's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right. Be nice though. Yo, speaking of players who are nice, up in Baltimore,
Yes.
there is a stud at the quarterback position, an absolute gem, a league MVP,
Unanimous league
unanimous
MVP.
league MVP, and Lamar Jackson that has not been paid yet. So much so, people, that he even changed his profile pictures on social media to "I need money" because he needs to be paid.
Yes.
He didn't see these quarterbacks get paid that he didn't beat. He didn't beat Josh Allen before. He didn't beat Patty Mahomes before.
Yep.
Albeit maybe. Has Lamar made it to an AFC Championship game?
He has not. He's only been to the second round once, and that's when he beat Tennessee 2 years ago. in Tennessee. That's when they stomped on the logo.
Mm-hmm. He didn't see y'all. He didn't see what y'all thinking about paying Kyler Murray. He didn't see what y'all pay Dak Prescott. And Lamar's here to say, yo, I'll be winning and I'll be beating teams. Y'all formed a team around me. Y'all put this roster together around me on the offensive end. Why haven't y'all paid me? You think they're paying him, right? Right, Danny?
So here's what I get, Jackson. I get a guy that's going to win 3 out of 4 games. That's going to give me at least 2 touchdowns, with 1 passing, 1 running, some combination of 2 touchdowns a game. He's going to leave me in contention for the playoffs. I will say, though, Lamar has been able to get a contract for 2 years now or 3 years now. And originally, and if I'm not mistaken, if I am, I'm sure Blake in the chat will correct me, Lamar said no because he thought he hadn't done enough to earn that contract extension. And this kid is a lesson in money. Take the money when it's there. When it's time to get a bag.
Or bet on yourself, because I think when you look back at, you can look at last year or anytime he hasn't been in there, they haven't necessarily been the same team. And when he has been in there, I mean, there's been times where he's completely carried the team.
I know, no, I'm saying like after he won the unanimous MVP, I believe he was up for a contract extension, and he was like, no, I haven't earned it yet, or I haven't done enough in the postseason to get that yet. Kids, take the money when your value is at its highest.
No, stop it. You're talking like he's not going to get paid. No, he's going to get paid. Because you know why? You know why? If the Ravens let him play out the contract, he's either going to re-sign with them, or someone out here is going to be pulling up with maybe a Watson-esque Brinks truck and saying, please play quarterback here. We'll figure it out.
Let the Ravens let that man slip. I bet you Howie Roseman would be at his door in Baltimore with a fried fish sandwich and some horseradish. Like, hey, Brinks.
I mean, we cannot make it an episode without you.
I'm just saying, like, that's how good. Like, I would love to have Lamar Jackson, and I would pay Lamar Jackson.
Really want to play in Philly. Nobody want to go play in
Philly. Hey, you got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
but yes, pay Lamar Jackson.
2 draft picks and a tradee. Again, unless outside the players, I'll stop it. So with this Lamar Jackson contract extension talk, does it seem like when it comes to paying the black quarterback, it's always a stringent, drawn out, all in the media, kind of messy process? Are you noticing that too, or is that just me?
I will say black quarterbacks get paid if you're Patrick Mahomes or if you have over 20 plus sexual assault allegations, because Deshaun Watson got his money, no problem at all. He got his bread. But yes, there has to be that discussion in regards to Lamar Jackson. Like if Lamar, I think Bomani has always said, and this is a great analogy, like if Josh Allen was named Jaheim Allen, we would be looking at him a lot differently. But since his name is Josh and he can run, like we see him as the star. And I think the inverse of that is what we're seeing with Lamar Jackson, right? Like the knock is, well, he can't throw the ball when he has to, or he's a running quarterback. But I mean, the Ravens are consistently winning, and it's because of Lamar. So I don't see why he can't get his money.
And he was a league MVP. Like he
unanimous.
And he was football. So I don't get.
Like, I mean, but you're right. Dak, it took him a minute to earn his money. It's taken Lamar a minute to earn his money. I believe that.
You see what's happening in Arizona?
Yeah, Kyler Murray is hard to get his money. I think Russell Wilson, that first big contract he got, I think he had a little bit of issue getting his money. So yeah, I mean, there's always that underlying, and I know people who talk about race, race runs everything. Like there's always that underlying issue of race when it comes to like paying the black quarterback. Because if Kyler Murray were Kyle Murray, yes, he would have got his money even with the leadership concerns.
I mean, yeah, and you see how fast people are willing to throw out contracts to Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson. In the time that Lamar Jackson has been in the league since, with Matt Ryan, I mean, Lamar has won more games. So I don't
get it either.
Blake says, let Lamar go because paying a quarterback that much, you can't field the team if he wants Deshaun Watson money. Hey, buddy, I'm going to let you know right now, that guy Deshaun Watson reset the market. That's why people try to there's a secret word going. There's a secret back room of conversations with GMs on how much money to give which positions. And I can tell you right now, 31 other GMs are very upset at the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
Has anyone else noticed, maybe since Devontae Adams, there really hasn't been a lot of receiver or big trades in the NFL?
Nope, because Devontae, they said, nope, we ain't paying nobody that kind of money. Well, AJ happened after Devontae. No, AJ happened before.
They were right around the same time anyway.
Yeah, but I will say this to Blake. Quarterback is the most important position in all sports. If you have a quarterback, you have the opportunity. Like, you have a chance every Sunday to win. Coming from someone who is questioning their quarterback, who has all the talent in the world around him. Like, the reason the Green Bay Packers are good, it's not because of the talent around Aaron Rodgers. It's because of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, we do have talented skill position players too, but
but Aaron Rodgers can take, like, put Jordy Nelson in, I don't know, put Jordy Nelson in Arizona in his career compared to Green Bay. Does Jordy have the same career?
Nah.
Aaron.
A good quarterback is what everyone needs.
So, okay. So
after the Super Bowl, he screwed the Ravens for the next 8 years. Well, that's because Joe Flacco, I think everyone knew Joe Flacco was fluky. The problem was you can't win a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP and not get paid. That's what put the Ravens in an interesting position, because he won the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. And I remember them announcing that contract maybe a day or two after the Super Bowl. So they were on a Super Bowl high. Joe was like, yo, fuck it, man. We can win 2, 3. Fuck it, man. We ran it up. And no one reminded Joe Flacco that Ray Lewis and Ed Reed retired that year. So that defense it looked a lot different. The Ravens were high on the Super Bowl win. So you can't. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to pay.
You won the Super Bowl. Like, you won a championship. So if there's 8 years of mediocrity, like, you won a ring. Like, that's the whole goal of this thing. Like, would you rather not have paid Joe Flacco? Would you have mediocrity and, you win 10, 11 games and you lose in the conference championship in the playoffs every year? No, like, you play to win the Super Bowl. You won a championship. Like, that's the goal. Ask Dallas fans who haven't had anything in 25, 30 years. Like, would you take a Super Bowl followed by 8 years of mediocrity and then fall into Lamar Jackson, who was unanimous MVP and win you another Super Bowl? They say, hell yeah, sign me up. Any franchise would say that. Like, you won a Super Bowl. Like, that's the goal.
Players want money. Teams want championships. They meet in the middle.
Yep.
They meet in the middle.
I mean, of course you won another one, but you won one.
Yeah, I mean, guys, there are people who pass away and never see their team win Super Bowl.
Dog, like, can you imagine being a Jacksonville fan?
No.
What?
I don't
want to. Even for me, like, I've been alive for 30 years and never seen the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Yes, you have.
I mean, I have. I'm saying, like, there was a point in my life where I had never seen the Eagles win a championship. Like, I have seen that. Like, there are people on this earth who have never seen, like you said, they go to their grave never seeing their team win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Lions fans. God bless you.
Bengals fans came close.
The Bengals, the Bengals.
Speaking of teams in the NFL, the Raiders hired Sandra Douglas Morgan to be their new team president last week, making her, hear this, the first Black woman to hold that title in the NFL. So before coming to the Raiders, she previously served as the chairwoman and executive director of the Nevada Gaming Control Board. And she has previously served as the director of external affairs for AT&T Services in Southern Nevada. She also did some time as a litigation attorney for an international gaming and hospitality company. So I say all that to you, Danny, to ask you a question. Are you seeing the vision the Raiders are trying to go with their franchise post John Gruden?
Glad you said his name, because I do want to get something out of the way. I know when, like, a team or an organization suffers from something that's rooted in racism, the immediate effect of that is they hire a person of color or a black person in a position of power is kind of like a balance, like an affirmative action. So I do want to say let's be very conscious of this and not take away from this woman has earned this job, and it's not because the Raiders are being called a bunch of racists, right? Like she's earned this job. That being said, of course I see the Raiders' vision. They're in Vegas, like they need to compete with Vegas and they need to fit into Vegas. I love the hire. I love her background. We were talking about Vegas, talking about gambling, and we talk about hospitality. She knows a lot about both. I'm sure she has a lot of connections throughout the city. Yeah, I'm good for her.
Yeah, I think on top of that, when you think about, I think when you think about the state of where this team was when John Gruden departed, I think you're thinking of a team. I mean, you're talking about a playoff team. So this is a good football team. John Gruden
Yes.
built a very good football team. They have some holes, but he built a very good football team. So I think when you think about that, I think where I see the Raiders and their vision is bigger than just the NFL. I think they're thinking of this from a holistic Vegas view. Like, if we really field a competitive football team that benefits all of Vegas, like business in Vegas just booms when you have a good football team because you're selling more tickets, and when you're selling more tickets to games, I mean that's more people, more opportunities, so on and so forth. So I think with her, given her previous history, and I think when you look at them hiring who I believe was Josh McDaniels as their head coach. I think they're trying to take this organization they're trying to take the skeleton that John Gruden built and plant it into a more palatable, more equitable franchise, at least to the external perspective. You know what I'm saying? To the outside view, I think that's kind of the image that they want. And so, and I don't really like the notion of when you were talking about when something happens and it's rooted in racism. I hate that our people get upset when the first thing that company then does is to hire a person of color, because it's like, yo, you're like damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah.
They have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. And make no mistake, like this is also a play to get other professional franchises to Las Vegas. Like I know the NBA is talking about it. Vegas they have the Aces, they have an NHL team too, right? The Knights.
Knights, yeah.
Yeah, so like this is definitely probably a play to get an NBA team to Vegas, which I think is a great idea. The NBA in Vegas, like you're already in bed with the odds makers, like why not just make it local?
And I mean, they host the summer league every year, so it's not like
you got UNLV.
UNLV. It's not like they're unfamiliar with basketball.
Yeah,
with it. So, shout out to the Raiders. Shout out to Sandra Douglas from Oregon. Gator J in the chat says, "Love that hire. Never thought of that way to look at it, Danny. Her resume is a great fit for them in Vegas." I agree. I think I'm very interested to see the direction they're going to go, like field wise. I think obviously with the addition of best receiver in the league, Devontae Adams, it's definitely it's definitely putting them in a position where you need a very good receiver, you need a really good quarterback, and I think they know they got probably about 4 or 5 more good years of Derek Carr while they have it. So
you got Darren Waller, and you got Josh Jacobs, and you got Hunter Renfrow.
Then you got Devontae Adams. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go. Are they going to be able to compete for a divisional championship, or are they more of a wild card team? I mean, you got Jay Herbo and the Chargers. You got Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs. You got Russ Wilson and the Broncos. Good luck to you all.
Put every AFC West game on national television. Like I don't care. Put every single one on. Like we need to see as much Justin Herbert as we can get. Put every AFC West game on national TV.
Yo, talk to me about this Zach Wilson drama. Talk to me. Tell people about it so we can discuss it.
So over the internet this weekend, it was rumored that Zach Wilson's girlfriend had left him for one of Zach Wilson's friends. And in some Instagram comments, someone called her a homie hopper And she fires back, well, he was cheating on me with one of his mother's friends. He is the homie hopper. And let me tell you, Utah might not be as bad of a state as I thought it was.
Hold on. Yo, this reminds me like when Hove was talking on Freemason, he was like, I never said that I'm a Mason. It's amazing that I made it through. You know what I'm saying? But he never answered the question of, yo, are you a Mason or not? Yo, are you a homie hopper or not, shorty? You ain't. No. Yeah, first off, that's not really homie hopping. That's mama hopping. So get your terms right.
Mamas can be homies too.
Nah, no. But no, that's really auntie hopping. No, we gotta get the statement right. It's really auntie hopping. Your mom not your friend. What are you talking about?
That's true. That's true.
And your
that's
mom's
a fair
friends
point.
is not your friends. Man, Zach Wilson, I would have packed him. I would have packed up his ex-girlfriend. No, like you, you still a homie hopper.
I mean, she didn't deny that she was a homie hopper. She was just saying,
like, yeah, I'm giving some work to my mama friend, but you was hitting my friend.
Zach, she said Zach be having more fun at the PTA meetings than the club.
Well, y'all know how the Mormons move. They,
Oh, that was the funniest. Like, good old Zach Wilson. Yeah, that's right, Kyle. Good old Zach Wilson.
Yeah, good old Zach Wilson.
So, can you imagine, like, now when Zach walks in the locker room, like, dudes have been, don't look at my mama like that. Like, you can't bring
yo, hide your moms.
Hide your mom. Where your mom's at? Like, Zach will be coming in. Where your mom's at?
Nah, Zach Wilson coming around. You talking about some where your mom's at?
Where your mom's at?
That's some sick stuff. And he a quarterback too. You know, anyone gonna like really box him up like they need to.
Oh. Hey, what happened? Didn't old boy get punched Geno Smith in the Jets locker room back in the day? Didn't he break Geno jaw and sit that man in backup QB land forever?
Yo, that was like a real storyline, like a real storyline for some time.
Kids go.
Yeah, talk about how messy NFL media is, man. NFL and NBA media, they be reporting all this stuff that we really don't need to know about, but we be knowing anyway.
We need to know about that Geno hit because we've been wondering why he's not out there. That's because he got his jaw fractured like 50 Cent.
You say he's injured.
Dog, that was such a wild story. That was probably in Rex Ryan. Was Rex there when that happened?
Oh, I think he's there. I think he might have been there. Rex probably encouraged him.
Hey, that's the thing.
Yo, Zion Williamson signed a major contract extension, and then he hooped with some kids at his summer camp. I just want to say salute to Zion signing generational wealth. He said he was going to get it by any means.
Yep.
What this is really telling the people is that you can acquire generational wealth by doing really a bare minimum of what you really need to do at your job to show that you have immense potential. I don't think this is being talked about and discussed and praised enough. Yeah, John Morant got his, but he a dog. You can clearly see the dog in him.
No, not
Anthony Edwards gonna get his, but you see the dog in him. Like it's beating out his chest. Boom, 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 boom. It's like woof, 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 woof. That's how his heart beats. But like Zion, you don't know how his heart beats. And everyone say his heart beat gumbo and gravy. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Two things. You said his heart beat woof, 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 bar. That is hilarious. And then he gumbo and gravy.
He got that dog in him. He got that dog in him. What are you talking? You got that? John Morant got that contract extension because he got that dog in him. Hey, John Morant, he stand 10 toes on his, and I respect it. He was trash talking the Warriors before they won the chip and after they won the chip. So he basically saying, I don't give a damn y'all won that ring. Like, salute, I don't give a damn y'all won that ring. I'm still stand on mine. Nah, he got this dog. Shout out to all the players and all the leagues. No matter how you identify, I'm identifying you as having that dog in you because you got that dog. Okay.
Shout out Zion. Get that money.
Yo, Donovan Mitchell on trading block? What's going on?
So about an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago before we came on air, Woj reported that the Jazz are now listening to trade packages for Donovan. It seems like they got such a haul for Rudy Gobert. It's like, what can we get for Donovan? And let me say this. This is the Danny Ainge special. Jazz fans, do not fall for it. I know Danny Ainge is the president and not the GM, but this is his MO. And Sam Presti is doing it in Oklahoma City. It is a scam. I am going to get all these picks and I'm going to tease and taunt you about trading for a superstar, and I'm not going to do it. Do not fall for this foolishness. It is the Danny Ainge special. He's going to have 15 picks from now until 2027. He's not going to use any of them on a superstar. He's not going to draft for damn. He fell into Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Do not fall for this foolishness, Jazz fans. He's doing what Sam Presti is doing down in Oklahoma City.
I think Danny Ainge and the Jazz organization bought the keys to the tanking whip that seems to be floating around NFL teams from a couple years to years. So I think if you've been watching Summer League, you've been seeing that the OKC Thunder, that young core may not be bad.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing here clearly is that when you incorporate like a SGA, some of the other more veteran players, you're going to have a decently good basketball team. It's going to probably get better for the next couple of years. And I think what people are, if you're really paying attention to the inner workings of business, I think the Jazz they got the keys to the tanking whip. They're pressing it full on 0 to 60, gassing it. They are full on tanking. What Danny said about these draft picks, if I was a Jazz fan, hey man, you might want to start looking into the Denver Nuggets. That'd probably be the closest team that's doing something well.
You got to get at. Like, did you see the new Jazz uniforms? Like, they're wearing a variation of them in the summer league. They look like AAU uniforms, like with the highlighter stuff.
Well, go back.
Go back to the beautiful purple Jazz uniforms with the mountains, and that silhouette is so beautiful. Like Lee, like you can go back to the Andre Kirilenko, like where Andre Kirilenko was there, and the J was a note. Like that is when things went left. Like that was a good jersey, and then everything after they went to that blue with Darren Williams, like that was ugly, and they've been ugly ever since. Get the jerseys right at least. If you're gonna be terrible, at least look cool.
No. If you're gonna stink ass, then you might as well look ugly so that I can have something else to talk about than the product of the field. Yo, Indianapolis Colts, I want y'all to remember that the world has not forgotten that damn punt return. What the fuck was that, yo?
That's random.
What the fuck was that? You see why I was talking about that? Because the Indianapolis Colts, they have very nice uniforms. I love their uniforms. But when I start thinking about terrible plays, but good uniforms and looking pretty, I go back to Chuck Pagano, whatever the fuck he thought that was. Like, fam, he ran a wing T punt formation.
I will never forget Chris Collinsworth. He was like, what? Like Chris Collinsworth had, like he had a brain, like his brain died on air. He was kind of like, what? Like they had to go to commercial.
Chris Collinsworth was disgusted. Like, yo, speaking of announcers that was disgusted, I was watching a random clip on Twitter, and it was about LeBron in Toronto, and it was the 2018 year when the Raptors were like the number 1, number 2 seed, and the Cavs were like it was LeBron and a bunch of guys. 2018, and that was the year that LeBron himself was just smoking the Raptors. You listen to that commentary. It was Mark Jones and Hubie Brown. Fam, Hubie Jones was so disgusted with the way the Raptors chose to play defense against LeBron James. Yo, he'd be like, yo, they at the beginning of the game, he was like, watch them start to double and watch them start doubling LeBron now. I mean, it's just tough for anyone to guard him one-on-one. As the game went on, like they didn't double him. So by the third quarter, Hubie was like, "Oh, geez." He wouldn't even say it. He said, "Oh, geez. Oh, man." And you know how Mark Jones be like, "Oh, man, he's cooking with fish grease." Hubie Brown talking about some, see, that's why you got to double him. Man, was sick to his stomach watching them. I would be too. Yo, man. How could you be it must have been tough up until 2019 being a Raptors fan. It was like, yo, this guy LeBron. And then the literally the year he leaves and goes to the Western Conference, they win it all. Weak. Or maybe like 2 years. No, it might have been the year.
I think it was the year after.
Yeah.
I will say the best commentator experience ever is when, and this is kind of creepy, when Brent Musburger was lusting after AJ McCarron's girlfriend on TV. Like that like I think that was his last nationally broadcasted college game.
Bugging. Nah, he was bugging. It was
like, did he ask the camera to go back to her? Like, it was I think that like they were switching. There was a change of possession. Like they go to her. He's like, oh man, she's gorgeous. Like he's like lusting after her pretty heavily. They go back to the field to show AJ McCarron. And I don't know if he says it. He's kind of like, yeah, go back to her. And like Kirk, you can feel Kirk Herbstreit like looking at the producers like, yo, please take us.
Kirk was like, nah, this man can't be this horny, real life. Nah. It was kind of like when Jeff Van Gundy saw Rihanna in the crowd. He was like, yo, basketball. Fuck this basketball shit. Rihanna just walked past me. I don't give a damn about this NBA finals. Yo, that is the human aspect of broadcasting that you can't replace with streaming. Like you can only get that with the live, live experience.
Second and 9.
Yeah. Shout out to the Wimbledon winners, Novak Djokovic for the gentlemen and Elena Rybakina for the women. Rybakina was, I believe she was like an 11 or 12 seed. She was an underdog. Djokovic, I mean, he's just always really good.
So Djokovic beat that Aussie, right? The black guy with hat backwards, and he came on the court wearing red J's, and they kind of drilled him during the press conference, like, why are you wearing red shoes? I hope that guy wins. I don't even know who he is, but anyone who.
What if his answer would have been like, yo, because I'm blood, Suwu? Then what? Then
he would never be invited to Wimbledon again.
He'd be invited to Wimbledon. Yeah, he'll be invited to Wimbledon. It's just homeboys who might not. Don't let him win either. You can call it Wimbledon.
Let me tell you something. Black man walk into Wimbledon or a place like that, talking about something he in the gang. They calling the police and they hope they shoot him.
Man. Yo, you won't ever see the. I think Wimbledon is in London. Is it in London or Australia?
I think so. Where is Wimbledon?
I think
the Australian Open, because the U.S. Open is in New York. Australian Open is in Sydney.
No, Wimbledon might be in.
No, is that in? Because hold on, because I was listening to something that someone was like, "Yeah,
Excuse me.
It's in London."
Okay. Yeah, no, I can tell you right now, you will never see the London police arrive faster than you hear a black man winning Wimbledon talking about some Wimbledon. Boy, they are locking you up on site.
The police in London don't shoot a lot of people. They will shoot that person.
They gonna let you say that? Nah, they get you the fuck up out of here.
The Queen gonna call the royal police. Like he right there.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like,
lock Princess Diana him.
Lock up this hood. Yo, you see Myles Garrett's dunking in summer league warmups?
Dog, that boy a freak of nature.
I think the Browns are going to the playoffs. When Deshaun Watson once Deshaun Watson serves his 5-game suspension, they're going to come back 2-3, and he's going to go on like a.
Well, he hasn't played football in a year. I think we have to account for that. He hasn't played professional organized football in a year. Like there's going to be some sort of rust he needs to knock off.
But when he starts cooking, that boy bad.
I mean, the AFC is so stacked. By the time he starts cooking, will it be too late? Like they are potentially the third best team in that division.
He's cooking at the right time, then it don't matter.
Because right now they're not better than the Ravens, and they're not better than the Bengals.
Better than the Steelers, though.
Yo, yeah, a dog. No. Steelers. Pack it up, Steelers.
On a football Sunday right now with that type of uncertainty, I'm going with the team who I know is gonna. I know what the Steelers are going to bring. They're going to bring mediocre QB play, very good defense. Give me that That's right now before the uncertainty at QB.
That's true.
But when I hear about this Deshaun Watson trade, I'm gonna have a look at their schedule. I'm telling you, when he gets that 5-game, I'm gonna wait for I to give my conspiracy on why the NFL brought in a third party. Y'all thought it was to give it a fair arbitration. No. The arbitration was the money they gave her to come in and do that.
Yes. I will say I'm very glad that our teams are the NFC. Like I can't imagine being an AFC fan. You like unless you're like the Bills, like everything
brother.
is up in the air.
Brother, the Super Bowl champions were in the NFC.
I'm just saying
The
it's an
best
easier road to the Super Bowl
that
than the
in
NFC.
the NFC,
That's
albeit
what I'm
they
saying.
lost.
Like it's an easier road. Like to get to the Super Bowl than the AFC, you're going to have to go through some combination of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson. Like, and I'm forgetting Lamar Jackson. Like, you're going to
I
have
think
to go
you're
through
down.
that
I
some
think you're
combination of those
downplaying.
guys.
I think you're downplaying the NFC. Yo, the teams in the NFC you got to go through right now. Yo, I know we lost on some bullshit, but the best team in the league was an NFC team. The team that won the Super Bowl was an
Yeah,
NFC team. I mean, you had Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, really,
yep.
really good, really good team. Then you start looking at the 49ers, another team who was in the NFC
Mhm.
Championship game. They're always going to at least be competitive. Every team in the NFC that plays the 49ers are going to get a very competitive football game out of
But
them. That's
I'm just
not
saying, like,
they named some hoes for no reason.
out of the 7 quarterbacks I just named, NFC, you got Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Dak,
Kyler Murray.
Kyler. Who else?
The Saints are going to give you a tough game for no reason. Again, they're a good team.
Jaden,
They're just
Jalen. Like out of the 7 guys
I mean, you
in the
can't mention
AFC,
Jalen and not mention Jameis.
I said Jameis, Jalen. Like out of that group, like who would you rather face? And Trey
No.
Lance. Out of the 7, the top 7 from the AFC and the top 7 in the NFC, it's going to be a lot harder to get to the Super Bowl from the AFC than it is the NFC. Like the one
Yeah,
seed in the
every year
AFC is
the
going to mean a
AFC,
lot
they
more
have
than
all
the
these
one
good
seed.
teams, and the same bunch of maybe 2, 3, or 4 end up going to the second round because the new batch of young, hungry teams get to the playoffs and they wet the bed. Versus
But
the teams
they're
in the
going to beat each
NFC with
other up
all
though.
the true proven dogs. That's why the NFC playoff games be crazy outside the AFC second round because the NFC's got the true proven dogs who just know that when it comes to this playoff shit, we move differently. That's why the Rams was praising God that they beat Tom Brady by as little as they did. Right? He almost still beat them.
I mean, but I'm with
The
Gator. The
49ers
AFC.
beat a very good team that that just basically didn't score an offensive touchdown. That was
So if you're the AFC, so you're a wild card team. Your first game, you got to go to Baltimore. Second game, I got to go to Kansas City. AFC Championship game, I got to go to Buffalo. NFC, first game, I got to go to New Orleans. Second game, I got to go to Dallas. Third game, I got to go to Tampa Bay
well,
or LA.
that'd be wrong because your first game would be Dallas. Your second game would
Okay.
probably be your second game would probably be at Tampa Bay or
Okay.
at LA or at Tampa Bay. Your NFC Championship game will be
We'll be
versus
at Green
Green
Bay.
Bay.
Like out of those 3, what would you rather go through? Like at least Dallas is easy. Like the easiest out of those games would be Dallas. Like at least you get some sort of game.
And again, people think Dallas is some hoes. You know why? Is because Dallas isn't used to being in the postseason. They didn't really know what it was like to be in that stage against that moment against a good 49ers team that plays everyone tough. They play everyone tough. But most of the year, Dallas on offense was smoking everything that they played against.
I'd rather go to the NFC.
We got
which is good for the NFC because that team's going to be healthy.
I'm just saying, look at the tape of these NFC teams. There's some real good NFC teams. They're just the AFC has just been so bad for so long, and now they're getting some younger teams after being bad for so long. People are like, "Yo, it's tough." No, it's tough, but I think in the AFC you have a better chance of someone shitting the bed versus someone in the NFC. I think in the NFC you're going to consistently get a team's best performance in the playoffs because they have that many proven veteran leaders at the quarterback position.
Like I got to go to LA to play the Rams. Okay, now I got to go to Kansas City to play Patrick Mahomes. Now I got to go to Baltimore to play Lamar Jackson. Dog, that was a murderer's row. Like that one seed is going to be crucial in the AFC because you got man.
I think you can get a 3 or 4 seed in the AFC and be perfectly fine because at least one team that you play against is definitely going to wet the bed.
Quarterbacks make all the difference in the world in the playoffs, and I would rather play Kyler Murray in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Jay Herbo in the first round.
Let people know where they can find you, man.
Find me on the Bird app, MattAds14. D, you haven't done like a rapping thing to take us home in a long time. Do you have any? Like, does West Coast D-Mix have something to take us home?
First off, people, you make sure you follow me at Los D-Mix. It's LOSDEEMIX. And make sure you follow the podcast. That is at Speak On It _pod. SPEAK.
SPEAKONIT_POD. I got you. We're a team.
Thank you. All right. I got us a little something to send us out. Before I say that though, I do want to say we appreciate the love and the support we've been getting. Glad we've been giving you guys something to tune in on your Tuesdays. Pretty soon, Danny and I will start getting into our NFL divisional breakdown like we did last year. So really excited for that. But as we put this podcast to rest, I'm not saying we good. I'm saying we the best.
Hey.
My boy Danny Ocean and Los D Mix signing out from the West. Peace. It is. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.